this is my project, and all the little parts are either great because of me or bad because of me, right? So I'm here with Inversus, which is sort of a mix of like, you took like the board game Othello or Go, and then mixed that with like Geometry Wars. So you're either on the black side or the white side, and you can only move on that color. And when you shoot, you flip the color, opening up a pathway for you, but because your opponent is on the other color, it closes off where they can move. So you live in these like negative spaces of each other, and it's sort of this like territorial combat where the space is always shifting, and with every shot, you're basically creating this like pathway to victory, or basically an avenue for defeat for the other player. And you paint a new level every time you play the map. I started, I guess it was like 2004 was when I graduated from college, and I went straight to Neversoft. I started out making this game called Gun, which was still Western. I worked on some of the Tony Hawk games. I went around, all around LA. I worked at Pandemic for a while on a game called Saboteur. I worked on like this canceled game called Project Offset, people might remember, that was on PC, and then worked through smaller studios, and more recently I was on Destiny at Bungie, and I was there for 5 years doing all like the guns and programming the vehicles and all the like player feel and stuff. And then very recently, a few months ago, switched to making Inversus from a part-time thing to a full-time project. Yeah, so when I was in college, I did a lot of smaller games, right? And I went to IGF a couple of times, which is the Independent Games Festival, and that was a great experience. And it's, when you're working on something very small, you're in control of a ton of it, right? It's a very different experience than working on a team with 600 people, where it's, you know, working with that, you get to make something much bigger, much larger scope, but it's less personal, it's less focused, it's less singular vision. And I just wanted to do something again where I was like exercising all the aspects of what I could do, right? Like on Inversus, I did the sound design, I did the programming. It's programmed from scratch, no engine, no anything. I did the artworks. I mean, like for fun, I would make games. Like I really like making games. I love playing games too, but like creating them is what I might even, I don't know. It's hard to say which one I like more. So being able to just kind of do what you want and just work on something you enjoy, you don't feel like you're working, right? You're just having a good time. You're just kind of like creating, and it's more of a, it's like making art or something, right? It's just like this passionate outflow of sort of creative juices. Sure, I mean, working at Bungie, probably the biggest thing I learned was like how to raise my bar even higher, right? Like when to make something feel better than anything else someone's played, right? You have to have your sensitivity has to be higher than anyone who's going to play the game, right? Like if you can't discern like, oh, what is the subtle difference between, you know, AAA shooter X and AAA shooter Y, you know, which maybe someone playing the game might never be able to know, but if you can tell, then anyone who eventually gets to that point, they'll go, oh, this feels a little better, I don't quite know why. And it's just like layering tons and tons and tons of small little details and just the most, you know, minutia tweaks, and it adds up, and then you have this thing where it's hard for people to understand like why it feels so good or so satisfying, but it does. And I've wanted to bring a lot of that into Inversus with just all the feedback. There's actually a bunch of articles you can see online of me talking about just like even just, you know, talking to the analog stick and just how to like just get there. That's like step one, right? And it just like goes, and just there's just tons and tons and tons of subtle little pieces to try to make every little, you know, impact, every little hit, every little shot, just really like, oh, wow, this feels really solid, it feels meaty, it also moves really smooth, and I get that feedback a lot from people. Like, oh, how does this move so smooth? What engine are you using? And I'm always like, well, it's all written from scratch, so I can make it exactly how I want. So yeah, that has become very important to me, and working at Bungie really raised that bar. They have some amazing people there on that stuff. So Inversus is coming out on PlayStation 4 and on Steam for PC. And yeah, you'll be able to get it on there. You can play it online with friends. You can play it local on the couch. You can play it single player in a whole arcade mode. It's really got something for all sorts of players in it. So I can't wait to get it out there.